Russia has reacted harshly to Thursday's Orthodox Christian Synod that recognized Ukraine's church leaders and laid out the path to Ukrainian ecclesiastic independence from Moscow. It has done so in two ways, both religious and secular. Both of them can have extreme ramifications. First, the religious answer.
The Constantinople Patriarch has recognized the leaders of the split, thus legitimizing the split that existed for over a quarter of a century, and therefore has made it impossible for us to stay united with the Constantinople Patriarchate.
Throughout the process, the Moscow Patriarchate has continuously threatened to cut ties with Constantinople. This has to be underlined. Doing so would mean that the Moscow Patriarch is creating a whole new religion separate from Eastern Orthodoxy. When the Patriarch of Rome split off from Constantinople, it created Catholicism. If the Patriarch of Moscow does the same, the result will be the same. Now for the secular response. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has issued not-so-veiled threats that Russia would intervene in order to protect orthodoxy in Ukraine.
In the event that the events which are developing take the course of illegal activities, then of course, just as Russia defends the interests of Russians and Russian speakers, and Putin has spoken about this many times, Russia will defend the interests of the Orthodox. This is an absolutely grounded and absolutely understandable position.
Defending Russians and Russian speakers was the exact same justification used by Moscow to invade and occupy Crimea and Donbass. Kremlin propaganda frames the situation in Ukraine as Russian speakers being threatened with discrimination and mob violence, and it is their job to step in to defend Russians beyond their borders. Radical right-wing Russian groups like the so-called Kuban Cossacks have also stated that they are ready to fight, just like in 2014. Different terms, same threat. Now, there is a very real possibility of Ukrainian religious nationalists causing trouble and threatening Moscow Patriarchate church property, but it is more likely that Russia will simply lie to build their narrative. In one of the more infamous examples, Russian Channel 1 ran a story about a Russian-speaking boy being crucified in Slovyansk Lenin Square in the summer of 2014. A later investigation by Russia's Novaya Gazeta found that nobody was aware of this, and there wasn't even such a place as Lenin Square. Also familiar, various Russian government and church officials have called this all a liberal, racist American plot supported by a power-hungry Constantinople Patriarch. As of now, these are all just threats, but Ukraine has learned that there is little space to distinguish between which Russian threats are hollow and which are not.